proclamation. Mayor?
Okay, I'll read it here and then we'll get a picture out front. Okay. Whereas the city of Ozark takes pride in joining Ozark Black History Committee and Americans throughout our country in honoring and celebrating the diverse culture heritage of its citizens, their accomplishments, and the significant impact African Americans have made in the city of Ozark and throughout America. And whereas Negro History Week, the precursor to Black History Month, created in 1926, is a time of remembrance, recognition, and education, a time to proclaim the importance of African American history in our nation, and a time to celebrate the historical teachings and keen insight of generations of African Americans in our city and our nation. Whereas the theme for this year's Black History Month, African Americans and the Arts, emphasizes the profound influence of African American artists, poets, writers, musicians, and dancers in shaping the cultural landscape, building this nation, and driving it forward. And whereas the city of Ozark and Ozark Black History Committee are committed to honoring exceptional individuals within our community who exemplify excellence, leadership, and service, and acknowledging their numerous contributions through prestigious awards, the Henry Jenkins Senior Award and the Spirit of the Community Award. And whereas Dr. S.C. Jackson Scholarship Award is presented to deserving students in the city of Ozark exhibiting academic excellence, moral character, and service in an effort to promote higher education opportunities for our citizens. And whereas together we uplift our African American community leaders, educators, business owners, professionals, and others who promote well-being and knowledge throughout the many facets of the city of Ozark, the Wiregrass, and this nation. And whereas we journey towards a stronger, more united nation, let us encourage all people to look to the future and to continue to make a difference so that we can collectively build each other up and live to the ideals of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mark Blankenship, Mayor of the City of Ozark, Alabama, do hereby proclaim February 2024 as Black History Month in Ozark, Alabama, and encourage all citizens to join me in honoring the many contributions made by African Americans throughout the city, the Wiregrass, and the nation, and to participate in the various activities honoring African Americans past and present and their contributions.
Thank you. If y'all, anyone who would like to be in the official picture, if y'all would come down to the front.
Oh, yeah.
Put the panoramic Come on, Miss Pinky. Come on, Miss Pinky. You gotta sit in front. I got to sit. You gotta be in front. Sure. You gotta be in front.
Oh, yeah.
See everybody.
Hit them in the frame. It's
Here. We can't see you. Can you see her?
Yeah, but not.
The red sweater? Can we switch you guys around? Because you're taller than she is.
No, baby.
You are short. Okay. Can you still see the young lady in the blue?
one step up. She's hard to see again.
Okay. Let's see.
Maybe come down front, either next to the lady in red or on this side. Next to the gentleman.
All right.
Heather, can, put some chairs in the front, let them some sit down low, and then you can get everybody squeezed in.
Names mixed up already today. We'll get you to come right here. Okay, can you get everybody? Can you see everybody? Oh, yeah, now I can see everybody, perfect.
All right. Next, we have an address by the mayor.
All right, I just have three things I wanted to briefly discuss with y'all, but I didn't want it to be in the normal part of the discussion. But one thing I'm asking y'all to revisit this meeting procedure issue that we failed to pass back a month or two ago. It just comes to light again on this food truck business of what it means to do that. We were blindsided by that. I knew a little bit of the information when we were being questioned, but I couldn't remember it all. I was on the council at the time. So we went back and researched it. I think when we presented it, everybody understood and agreed as to why we charge what we do for food truck license. The issue is, and I'm not throwing off on Michelle, Michelle printed exactly what we talked about and what happened. But it's out there that Ozark charges so much more for a food truck license. There's no way to ever recall it back. Being posted on YouTube videos. Since that time, I've been in, I can't tell you how many meetings with other mayors and council members. They all have policy like this. I have not found one yet that does not. It eliminates, it's not like we're not trying to answer the questions. It gives us an opportunity to be prepared to answer the question. If I had known that ahead of time, I could have pulled that and had it readily available. I didn't know it. I can tell you case after case, Charles, myself, Ryan, we handle this stuff every single day. There's hundreds of them a year that we deal with that doesn't have to come to a city meeting, catch us off guard, and then it make us, look bad. And then it's hard to retract that. So I'm just asking that y'all trust the department heads, trust our attorney. Our attorney drafted that. It's what's best for the city of Ozark, and that's basically all there is on that. If any of y'all got any questions on that before I go on, I'll be glad to try to answer them. But like I say, I've not found a city or a county that doesn't have policy in place like that.
Yeah, if that's the case, could we get the newspaper to just rewrite an article to that effect, that we're selling her with this?
I don't think that's his point. I think what he's asking about is, the mayor was disappointed about the press of the food truck press.
Understood.
But then he's asking us to revisit the policy, but the policy wasn't printed in the paper.
No, the policy was not printed there.
Yeah, he's asking us to revisit.
But once it hits the
policy,
paper that we charge so much more than any
because he's saying
municipality
that the
around,
policy is the same as everyone else.
it's hard for us to fix that once it gets out there in the public. And, in reality, the council and the mayor at that time probably did the best job of putting that price together on those food trucks, because they were trying not to discriminate against brick and mortar stores. That part never gets publicized. All people that read the Dothan Eagle you know, saw was that we charged more than Headland, Dothan Enterprise, whoever it was. But those are the kind of things that, and I could give you example after example after example of where we towed 3 vehicles not long ago out of 1 yard. We were 100% correct in everything that we did. The son of the father called me. When I started doing the research, we sent the letter, which was returned to us, to the person that owned the property, not to the person living there. That's all the record we had. We just assumed that we was going to the owner. We put the stickers on the front door. The son went in the back door. The problem was the man had passed away like 12 months ago. If that had come to a public meeting, it would have made us look terrible. We resolved that in no time. The vehicles were towed by 3 different towing companies. Charles, Tyler, myself, the attorney, we all worked that out, got that resolved. It was never an issue in a public meeting. But if they'd come here and stood up at that podium and started that, I wouldn't have had a clue what was going on, and nobody else in this room would have. It took me about 2 days to resolve it and figure out that, yes, we did everything right. We had no way of knowing the guy deceased. We had no way of knowing the letters was going to him being signed by somebody in Midland City. But if we are given the opportunity, we can resolve these things and there never be a public issue.
So that was your first item that you.
That was my first item.
Okay.
My second item, and it's a little more lengthy, and that's on the 5% allowance on bids. I was not very well prepared at last meeting when that came up, and the reason I wasn't, just to be honest with you, is I thought that was a no-brainer that nobody would ever challenge. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year promoting business and industry and bringing them into our city. But last meeting, we took a vote not to support our local businesses. Most of the cities and counties all over the state use that 5% allowance, and it's not even part of their written policy. Matter of fact, I haven't found one yet that has that in part of their policy. It's just a given. It's state law. It allows us to do it. Every city and county I've talked to makes shopping local a priority. In the bigger cities, it's not an issue because every bid they get is within that city. Our small businesses is absolutely the backbone of the city. If you look at where our sales tax revenue is coming from, that's where it's coming from. When I built that amphitheater down there in '99, and when I built this library the last 2 or 3 years, I can't tell you how many local businesses stepped up, donated to that project, material, labor, some of them both, never charged us a penny. But then we're gonna turn around and we're not gonna give them the opportunity to do business with the city of Ozark when the law allows us to do it. And I went one step further, and I did this just because I think sometimes this gets lost in the day-to-day operation. We forget what we're dealing with. And I got permission from Hagler Heating and Cooling to present this, because Clay he believes just like I do, we should be shopping Ozark. Hagler has 12 vehicles. They're tagged here, they're taxed here, and they even pay an EMS tag fee that supports our EMS service every time they renew those tags. He purchases $10,000 worth of fuel in the city of Ozark every single month that goes back to us paving streets. He purchases local insurance at a local insurance company at $50,000 a year, and that insurance company, I just happen to know, does a lot of stuff back in this community. He dumps that money back into this community. Hagler did $5.2 million worth of business last year, that every piece of equipment, part, everything he purchased comes into this building over here and he pays sales tax on it. The growth of his business is one example of why you're seeing a growth in our sales tax. You take Carroll Heating and Cooling that sat over there for many, many years and got down to 2 people and 1 vehicle, and did very little work in comparison to Clay. Now you've got 23 employees over there. Most of them live and shop in Ozark. I see groups of them eating out just about every time I go out to eat lunch here in Ozark. He spends over $100,000 a year at Logan's All Pro, which just turns around and flips that money again in the city of Ozark because they're spending their money here as well. I could go on and on and on about this, but just to give you an example, just today, we received a check for $1,090 for Clay Hagler, who bought a Christmas ornament that supports what we're doing downtown. Harris Security reached out to me because he heard about this. He sent me this email, and I'm reading straight from his email. He tags 60 vehicles right here in Dale County. That's Dothan vehicles, Montgomery vehicles, and Ozark vehicles. They're all tagged here, which means he's paying those same things. He's supporting our EMS every time he buys those tags. He has 72 full-time employees that's operating out of this facility here, and 30 subcontractors that operates out of this business here. He has given away over 35 freshman scholarships to first responders in the last 10 years. He buys all the equipment for the entire state of Alabama here in Ozark, which means he pays sales tax on every penny of that money that he, of those items that he gets. He even went back and did some research and said that based on the numbers and the best they can look at it, he pays the city of Ozark $3,000 a month in sales tax, where he's buying equipment. I'm just trying to point out that we got all this investment in our city, and then we want to take the position that we're not going to give them any special treatment because they're here in the city of Ozark. This all started, and the reason I'm presenting this tonight is over the demo project. We had out-of-town contractors that were $50 and $100 or so above on some cases where, we felt like we ought to have to give it to the out-of-town contractor. When Tyler left, we had some issues with some of the paperwork. So we had to rebid 2 houses. Everybody knew what they did before. The local contractor did the same thing. The out-of-town contractor did $58 less than what the local guy did to start with. So I'm sitting here holding 2 POs that I have not signed because I'm asking y'all to rethink this. We're going to give it to an out-of-town contractor on 2 houses to save $58 when these people buy everything they buy in the city of Ozark. They buy their fuel, they're over here parts and service buying parts, they're buying their tires down the street, and they're also the family that's just bought multiple lots in the city and about to build spec houses on it. So I am asking y'all to put that on the agenda and vote to support our local businesses in the city of Ozark. The law is used all over the state of Alabama. There's no way the Alabama legislature would have changed this from 3% to 5% in 21 if there hadn't been use all over the state of Alabama. Somebody had to be requesting that. And former Troy Council president and now state legislator that represents us, this was his quote when he heard about what we did last meeting. Your council is the exact opposite of the city of Troy. We did everything possible to keep our business local. So, I'm just asking y'all to let's get back to making decisions based on the facts and what's best for the city of Ozark. And I just am a strong believer, and you can't grow a city if you're not supporting your local businesses. Anybody got questions? I'll be glad to answer.
I will talk about the 5%. We were told last meeting that no city used this. Sitting right here, those statements, nobody's got it, nobody used it. But you're saying it's a state law that we
It's
can't.
a state law that
It don't
you
have to
can
be.
use it.
It don't have to be
and it's happening all over the state. I used it at the county commission when we bring it down.
This, if I may speak on this just a minute, it's like the mayor said, this all came up in the legislature, and there was some criticism of it because you really are taking a bid that's not the low bid. So when you use the word competitive bid, it generally means you're taking the low bid. So this is an effort to do exactly what the mayor said, to support your local people who trade in your town. The confusion was taken out of it in 2021, and the preference was increased from 3% to 5%. So if nobody was using it, why would the legislature increase it to 5%? I don't know. I don't know how many cities use it, how many cities don't use it. And I know the legislature dealt with this extensively in 2021, and that's what they came up with.
So what my question is, when we were presented with it, we were given that no one around here uses it.
Well, I can tell you, it's being used all over the state of Alabama. I'm on the gas board for 14 other mayors. I can tell you they use it.
So another thing, when I was running this when you said it, you're saying state law allows it, so they don't even have to write it in?
A lot of people don't even have it in their policy.
So
They
why,
just-
so why would we even vote on it to have it in our policy if you're just gonna, if you wanna use it anyway?
Well,
As a question.
because we wanted it included in our purchasing policy.
But why? I mean, if it's there, it's there.
If
Use
it's there,
it.
it's there,
Use
if
it.
it's state law.
Well, you can't use it unless the council approves it. I mean,
But he just, you're saying that it's being used by others, that is. But then now the attorney is saying.
But then we've been
unless we
told it's
approve it.
not
But
being
has
used
other
by
cities
others.
approved it, such as Enterprise, Dothan?
All I know is when I was with the county commission, we used that, we did that, but I don't remember us ever approving it in a policy.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about counties, I'm talking about cities,
Cities.
like-sized cities, like you follow, let's see
All
what.
it uses it.
Can we get it in writing that they use it? That's all.
So, yeah, right now I'm hearing that they
But
don't
we
use
get
it.
two different things.
Denise Ellis used it way back. Denise was hired in the city of
Yeah, but that was,
Ozark.
you just said way back.
No, this is what I'm saying. In '07 or '08, they were already using it then in the city of Eufaula.
Okay.
Well, I got confirmation
But
from
they don't-
Ms. Joy White, who is the CFO. I specifically emailed and asked her, do y'all have a bid local preference on any policy? And she replied back, I got the email, no, they do not.
Can we just get those similar, like you said,
Well,
Mr.
yeah.
Clerk, can we get those?
Listen, it's really not gonna matter if I call all 166 municipalities that are in the, state of Alabama and find out what they do. We need to do what's best for Ozark, period. I mean, we can judge, enterprise, just like the food truck, judging against Headland, against Dothan, against this, against that. Now, listen, I support Ozark. I mean, I love Ozark. Everybody knows that. And I'm not saying, my opinion was stated last time, I'm not doing this to, detriment Ozark by any means whatsoever. But it is an accounting policy that needs to be put in place or not put in place. And Mayor, I'll have to object to what you said earlier, when you said that you weren't prepared and that you thought that everything was going to be fine. I disagree with that because I sent you an email that says you and I disagree on this.
I knew that you disagreed. I didn't think they would disagree.
Well,
They're elected by the people.
So I guess my opinion does not matter when it comes to accounting policy as the CFO. But, like I
But
said,
the thing is, when you said you did, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, but when you did and when other department heads stated their concern as well, that's what we took into consideration. So,
All right, let me give this to y'all another way. There's probably not a person in this city that raises more money than I do. whether it be trying to get businesses to buy Christmas decorations, Rotary, United Way, I'm constantly out here raising money. Do y'all realize what a predicament you put me in, going to these small businesses and asking them to donate money when you're not gonna give them local preference?
But that's not what we, so this is what I think is weird. All of this was brought up over demolition, okay, right? Also, it is very hard on us as the financial people to make a financial decision when everything is just like, well, this could potentially do this. But if you would come up, and this is what I would request, I'm uncomfortable putting this on the policy tonight. Now, if y'all want to, great. I like hard numbers. If you were to say, if we could go to somebody local and the difference is $58, I'm fine with that. But if the difference is, over the course of a year, $35,000, like those are huge different numbers. I get $58, absolutely keep it local. I would pay $60 to keep it local and keep it here. But it's very hard for me personally to make a financial decision when everything is just like, I think we should do this, but I think we should do this. And that's just me. And I can't speak for them. But that's very hard when someone gives us this and all we have is what we're given, and then we're given a secondary opinion that is contrary to it, and then we're here set to try to vote on it in 2 seconds. But with what I think is insufficient information for us to make that decision. So I don't disagree with you, and I don't disagree with you. I can't make a decision because I'm the person that is voted to make the decision based on numbers. If that makes sense.
I think the decision is, we put $150,000 a year into ODEC to bring business into this town. We jumped through hoops to give tax abatements, property tax, sales tax, all this kind of stuff to bring them in here. But then we're not going to protect our small businesses. We're not talking about a lot of money.
But I think you are trying to, so what you're saying, I think you think we aren't wanting to support the small business. And I think you're trying to fearmonger us into doing
No,
that. But we're not doing
what
that.
y'all failed to vote in does not give them any kind of preference over anybody else. So we're gonna hire an enterprise or a Dothan company over an Ozark company that does everything they do in the city of Ozark.
And I think you know that each one of us up here doesn't want that to happen. But it's very hard for us to make the decision based on the information we were given last meeting. And
And that's the reason I've spent as much time as I did putting this together.
I have a question. The 3%, Chris, is that already in the policy?
What, 3%?
The 3% preference?
No.
For
No,
discussion?
there's
It's
no
5%. No, it's not in accounting policy. That's what brought it up.
So if it's a state law, I mean,
But it's not a state law that it be incorporated. It's a state law that gives you the option to have
well, I mean,
that.
it's not
if
anything
you
out of
want
the
to.
ordinary, it's allowable up to 5%.
It is allowed.
I was trying to figure out where the 3% came
the
from.
3% was because
That's
the county
reasonable.
had 3%. That's
Well, I'm all for supporting local business, small business. I said that publicly in my social forum, and I'll say it publicly now. So, I am in agreement with the, supporting local first.
yes.
Madam President, at the last meeting, the fellow came up here from Moore Enterprise, and he gave us the numbers for food trucks in Enterprise, Dothan, Mason.
That was
That was the hot dog.
That was the demo.
That was
For
the demo
Okay,
guy.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, whether it's demo or whether it's food truck, it doesn't matter. In that, when someone tells me that we're more than Enterprise, or Dothan, or Troy, or Eufaula, I'm a little hesitant about voting. So I mean, it's just like a sales tax. I can't sit up here and vote in a 10% sales tax for Ozark, when Dothan is at 9, Enterprise at 8.5, I think, you know, other surrounding cities.
Enterprise is at 10.
Enterprise at 10, but the point is, I'm hesitant when there are larger cities around us and we're small. And so I need some figures of what other cities are doing in order to make an informed decision on something like that. And Mayor, in reference to the food, you were talking about the food truck, and you ventured out about the vehicles being towed. Okay, well, I got firsthand knowledge of it, because it happened to us. And we did not receive a letter, a certified letter. We never received a certified letter. You mentioned that in that scenario that they put the notice on the door. No notice was never posted on our door. It was posted on the back of the vehicle, which was not facing the house. The back of the vehicle was facing the other street. And so my point is, if we got a policy in place, regardless to who it is in Ozark, let's use that policy to treat everybody the same. That's all. I mean, if it's gonna be posted on the door, let's post it on the door for everybody. I'll bring up another issue, campaign signs. We have a policy on that. We got an ordinance. Well, it looks like that policy is followed to the T when we're having our municipal campaigning and municipal elections. But right now, we have county elections going on. I see campaign signs all over the right of way. Now, we have a code enforcement officer. When I was campaigning, one of the city officers came in my yard and got the sign. Said it was on the right of way, in my yard. Right now, I ride Roy Parker Road, Union Avenue, and signs are right out there on the right of way. If I put one out there when I'm campaigning, they pick it up and put it in that bin over there. But why we're not, what I'm saying is, if we're gonna enforce the ordinance, let's enforce it. If we're not, we need to take it off the book. That goes for everything.
Winston, we do pick them up, and they come over here and pick them back up.
I saw one today. We're not picking them up. That ain't what's happening. But I just want to bring that up. Let's follow ordinances and go and take them off the book.
Okay, all right. Councilman Pearl, would you like to say anything about that, either one of these? I know you have a third one. I have a list.
I support local businesses too as well. But hearing Aaron Ozzie, when he spoke too as well, having it harder to get contractors that way, that just makes me a little hesitant on that.
And then Councilman Enfinger, do you have anything else? On point 2, on the allowance thing.
I was in business 35 years. I understand where these people coming from. They buy license here in town, they got brick and mortar, all kind of everyday expenses. If we can't give somebody here a break, I don't know who we would give a break. If it's a state law, somebody's using it, or they would not have put it out there. I mean, they wouldn't have went to all that trouble and that time to pass that if cities aren't using it somewhere. Whether that's fair or not, but I can't see where it would make or break any company either way on 5%.
Madam President, may I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
Part of the discussion with the legislature, as I said, when they were trying to resolve this and have it as a deviation to the competitive bid law, one of the things we really haven't mentioned here today is that when outside people come in and they realize that their bid may not be accepted if they're not more than 5%, if the locals are within 5%, and then they may get it. The theory there is that they're going to sharpen their pencil and get a better bid to prevent the 5% coming in. So you get it both ways.
Yeah. Well, see, what the gentleman told us last time was that he was saying he already knows, and he he was saying that he already knows that he would have to incorporate the cost of driving in and all that, whereas local people don't have to do that. So they just wouldn't bid at all. And the point that was made to us last time was that it is going to shrink the scope of people to bid at all, because the people aren't gonna come and do that. They're just not gonna bid. And then it's going to drive up the prices. That was the fear.
Well, you've got the same thing, if you've got a contractor here in town, gonna go somewhere else and bid. And they got to take their equipment, that don't run one way. I mean, and they bid other cities too, these contractors do. Yeah. Now, where they use it or not, I don't know. I know at one time Dothan did because it was 10%, because I had a budget bid. And he didn't get it because the 10% deal got him. They had it at 10%.
All right, and Mayor, what's your third thing?
My third thing is, and I briefly talked to Chris about this, I've talked to several department heads, and for a number of years, the city of Ozark has given a step raise every year, but we've really given no cost of living raise to our city employees. Our finances are looking very good, our tax revenue is strong, and I am asking y'all to consider giving every employee in the city an additional 3% pay raise. If you look at the counties around us, the cities around us, they've outpaced us over and over, every year. Even the utility board downstairs that I sit on as a non-voting member, Stanley's on it, they've been given much greater raises than we have. And I know from being out with these employees, like last week in the storm up here when we had the house fire south of Ayrton, I mean, these folks, they go above and beyond. And to start with, we're looking at trying to make police and EMS, fire competitive, but it goes above that. These guys on the back of these garbage trucks, I can't say enough good about our street department. Our street department, our rec department, we're now doing things in-house that's never been done in-house before. Been contracted out, so it's saving us lots of money. And I just think that it's something y'all need to consider, and I think it goes a long way with showing our employees how much we appreciate it.
Okay, to that, I will say, one, we did do a cost of living raise right before the election, because we sat in meetings, we actually sat in so many meetings where we worked out the numbers where everybody was gonna be able to get that, and then we re-implemented the new step policy. Once again, of course, we are not against a cost of living raise, y'all. But we also know that we have to keep so much in reserve. So does that mean that when we do that, we're gonna go dip into our reserve that we're required to have? What is the actual number on this? That's not,
I'll let Chris answer that, but I can tell you we can afford it.
Yeah. So, after looking at the numbers, it's obviously not in the budget this year to do it. Plus, we can't do 3% because that falls outside the scope of our 2.5% step increases. We have a salary step that we are, have incorporated. So we can't just randomly pick a certain percentage in order to do it. We need to stay at the 2.5%. My proposal would be to look at doing it for next year's budget. So we already have incorporated in this year's budget to do a step increase of 2.5%. Just be my preference. It is whatever y'all want to do, but I would rather see it done maybe as a 5% step increase next April, in order to incorporate it in the budget so that we stay there. We do have some large projects. The Civic Center project was approved. That was not in the budget for this year, so that's a large purchase that we're going to have. I'm not opposed to it, but I would rather see it done in a budget scenario rather than done during the middle of the year.
You're talking about this April, or you're talking about next?
2025.
2025.
Well, Let me tell y'all this. I sit here every day and I watch what's going on around the fire gas. To say we can't do it, Chris, I disagree with you. We can do it.
I did not say we could not do it. I did not say I can't, we can't do it.
But-
Put words in my mouth.
But when we're watching, especially on the EMS side, Pilcher's Ambulance Service and what they're doing, even the Abbeville's and the Headlands, and those kind of folks, they're outpacing us. We're already at disadvantage with those people because last week, we made so many runs in EMS. You take a guy that comes to work and he makes 25 runs during a shift, and he's making $16 an hour, and he can go to Headland and make $17 an hour and make 2 or 3 runs.
I don't
a shift.
disagree with that. Here's my view. And y'all know, everyone, and just in case you don't know, I'm only a second-term council member. When I first came on, we had to make the devastating decision to lay off so many people because we couldn't afford them. And that is my fear, is that we need numbers. I don't want to be the council that goes, well, we gave everybody step increase, now we can't afford these people anymore. Like, of course I want to be able, like, and I think every single employee here would know, of course, I would love to do that. But are we going to end up also being the council that has to go, well, y'all can't afford them, and now we have to rearrange everybody again because I don't want to do that. Now, I don't know what, like, I also, once again, I can't speak for them, but I felt terrible going in when we had to sit in that meeting and go, okay, we have to cut this many people because we can't afford it. We can't afford these employees.
Council President, I wouldn't be making this proposal if we couldn't afford it. I can tell you.
I agree, but I can't make that assessment. I feel like you're saying all of this out in public so that we look like the people who are the jerks and like, no, we don't want to support employees, we don't want to support local business, we don't want to do any of that. No, I would love to do all that. I need numbers. I need numbers to support my decision.
Madam President?
Yes, sir.
I agree with you. I need numbers also. And when you just say these things,
Please don't.
that's fine, but to hear it. But now, we need a budget meeting. I mean, we can have a budget meeting at 4 prior to the council meeting at 5, just like we did about a year
Yeah, if we
ago.
wanna
And then we can go over these. And that would be the
That's
right
what I'm
thing.
asking you to do.
Well, we'll set
Well,
a budget.
I mean, I have run the numbers, and it would cost about $300,000
Mhm.
to do,
Right,
a step increase, during the middle of the year.
right. And
You're talking about cost of living,
Whatever you want to call it. Like I said, we have to keep it in for Heather's sake, and the way we have the salary structure, we have to do it as a step increase, not a,
right, and in
call it
addition,
whatever you want.
right, in addition, Mayor, I get the email, we're doing great on sales tax, this type of thing, but I don't get numbers. I pick up the Dothan Eagle once every month or two, and there's an article in the Dothan Eagle that tells me how much they're doing in sales tax, lodging tax, liquor tax, I get all this on Dothan, but I get nothing on those, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I just like transparency and I like something in writing. And so, let's just schedule a meeting, a budget meeting.
Yeah, I would not be opposed to a meeting, but what I'm afraid of doing is going in blind and trying to solve it with heart. And I don't doubt that we can probably finagle something and try to do it, but I don't want to go, I really love it, let's do it, and then 2 years from now be in. I felt terrible. I was like, I've never felt so bad as a council member, which says a lot because we all know that we have been all through all the dramatics over the past 6 months. But laying off those people felt terrible. And I don't want to be put back in that position again because we're trying to outpace everybody. And that's I just want to be responsible about it.
Well, I'll make one more comment. We were talking about salary increases that we did. We did it for the police and fire. Can, Charles Ward, can you confirm that the police and fire have full staff at this point?
We are not.
No. And listen, we can argue and we can say, we give them pay raises, we give them step increases, and we're going to be at fully staffed. It's not going to happen. I'm not objecting to doing a step increase at any time, but I think we do need to do it the right way.
schedule a budget
Schedule,
meeting.
yeah, schedule budget.
Councilman Jackson?
Budget meeting.
Thank you. So we can try to schedule a budget meeting, which is fine, to go over all of this stuff. So, thank you, Mayor, for laying it all out in the manner that you did. It's stuff to take into consideration, but it's very hard to say, let's go push forward right now. But I know that is your style, but I really just want numbers. I'm not opposed to it though. Please do not think that I'm opposed to it.
All I'm asking y'all is to look at it. I'm telling you, we are falling further and further and further behind. I mean, Charles could tell you that, Elaine could tell you.
I don't think he's trying to catch up.
No.
We're just trying to catch up.
Yeah.
All right, was that all your?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, next up, we are going to review the agenda for the 5:30 meeting. So after a call to order and a prayer and pledge of allegiance, we're going to review and approve the minutes from the regular council meeting that was held on January 2nd, 2024. So council members, do you have any questions or comments on those minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. After that, we are going to do a set of board reappointments and appointments. Mayor, would you like to speak on those?
Yes, several on here. Of course, Councilman Jackson and our fire chief, they serve on the 911 board because of their positions. Somehow, some way we had missed Tony Robinson. He had moved out of town on the industrial development board. And Whitney Gardner, that has recently retired from Fort Novacell, he had expressed interest in serving on the board. So I got his name on there. Y'all can put on there who you want to. The Public Building Authority, Carl Holbach's been on that for years and years. That is a board that hardly ever meets, but he's agreed to continue to serve. And on the Leisure Services Board, Fred Stegall has been on there, and from what I understand, he is quick coming. And Todd has also, several months ago, he had stepped up and volunteered to serve, and we put his name on there to possibly serve there. And on the Airport Advisory Board, Adrian Holman would like to continue to serve, and he is the chairman. Doug Cowles had said he would like to come off. So we went back to our list of airport tenants, and we talked to Mark Nowell, who has been on the airport for a really long time, and he said he would like to serve.
Council members, do you have any additional suggestions, or is everyone okay with the reappointments and suggested appointments?
Great. Good ones.
Councilman Jackson?
Well, I just like to look at the names of those serving on the airport board right now. But I'm fine.
Okay. Councilman Thomas?
I'm good, I agree with these.
Okay. Councilman Anderson? Okay. Item number 6 is to approve a new job description in the fire department. So Director Ward, if you would come up and speak on that for us.
Ma'am. What it is we do not have an administrative person within the fire department, and so Chief Martin and some of the other commanders have to do all that. We really need to free them up to where they can actually do their job. So I'm asking y'all to approve that, and we have that person that take care of the administrative work.
How about that be a new hire?
Yeah, it will be a new hire. So we might move some people around, but somewhere, if we move them, we'll backfill them somewhere, because we didn't have a position there. Well, I'm coming to you to ask you to approve that position.
Council members, does anyone have any questions, any additional questions for Director Ward on the creation of this position?
No.
The only thing I would say is that yes, our guys are great at what they do, so let's put somebody else that would be great at administrative things. Put them there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and we'll hopefully get 2 more items for you. So we have item 7, a first and second reading application for retail beer off-premise
that'll be right at, South Union and, Newton Street. This is just a name change, and so they just have to get approval, so I recommend y'all go ahead and pass this for first and second reading,
Okay, and then item 8, same.
which will be next door, and that's a name change as well. Same thing.
Council members, do you have any questions for Director Ward on either of those? Thank you, Director Ward. Item number 9 is to appoint a presiding judge and a prosecutor for municipal court case MC 240000009. Daniel, will you come up and speak on that?
So we had our judges and prosecutor all recuse themselves from the case. We do need to appoint a new, we need to appoint an acting prosecutor and an acting judge for it. We do have Rick Hollingsworth, who is willing to prosecute the case for us, and Barbara Wade, who is willing to be appointed judge.
Okay, council members, do you have any questions on the appointment of the prosecutor or the judge on a case?
Madam President, I have some concerns.
Okay.
I'm of the understanding that those were selected in the municipal court, am I right?
Correct.
By our municipal court, that is. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
My question would now go to our city attorney, as to how transparent it is for us to do our selecting in our municipal court. Is there a better way that we could come up with
How
a
else
process?
would you do it?
Yeah.
How else would you do it?
I don't know, maybe about lottery or something. I just don't want, I don't want to, you
Well,
know,
let-
to give the impression that they were selected in-house, you know, when it's really the city official against a citizen.
Okay.
Right.
Apparently you don't know Judge,
Judge who?
Judge Barbara Wade.
Judge
No, I don't
Wade.
know Judge Wade personally.
Judge Wade is the municipal judge in Daleville, and I believe she's also the judge in Napier Field.
Right.
Rick Hollingsworth Jr. is been a prosecutor in several of the municipal courts. I don't know any other way to do other than try to find someone who will fill that position. I mean, it's not something you put in the newspaper and advertise.
I think, can I speak on it?
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
so, obviously, just like tangentially, I know a little bit about it. So, when an attorney is being asked to do something because another attorney can't because of a conflict, like, the attorney or the judge or anyone is not gonna take it if they themselves have a conflict, because then they're putting their livelihood and their name and everything on the line to possibly take something.
Yeah, I was just concerned about the selection process.
And I would think, and just for me, I would think that our municipal court would know who would have the least amount of conflict, be like, that person would have absolutely nothing to do.
I would hope so.
Yeah. So, I guess just so you're comfortable with these
Yeah.
people, okay.
And we did reach out to some others that were not able to do it either, so
Well, yeah,
we
so
did,
that-
we did go through a selection.
They recused themselves also, did
Correct.
Good. So that also makes it a little bit more comfortable with the choices that actually accepted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a great question. That's a great question. Okay, so that will be the final item on our 5:30 PM agenda. So with that, I'm gonna go out into the audience. Are there any department heads that have any comments or questions on any of the agenda items this evening? Okay, is there anyone in attendance that has any comments or questions on any of the agenda items this evening? Yes, ma'am?
Wendy Frazier. Again, I'm before the council asking if the council could make transparent the board members' information to include the expiration of those appointments. This would allow all the citizens of Ozark the opportunity to seek board appointments and find out if you're qualified or if they desire to be on the board. We find out about these board appointments at city council. So nobody knows when these appointments are expiring. We don't know any information. It's not on the city's website as to who's on the boards. So I'm asking the city if they would consider at least listing those board members, when the expirations are, so it will be open for more citizens to be able to participate versus just being appointed by either the mayor or the city council.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Is there anyone else in attendance that has any questions or comments on any agenda items this evening?
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir, if you just come up and
Just,
say.
I'm not even sure this is an agenda item, it may be for later, but it's a question to the mayor. My name is Jubal Mathis, I live here in Ozark. Mayor, Blankenship, on your first item you spoke about.
Okay,
are
so
you-
those weren't any of the agenda.
Those
items.
aren't agenda, okay, so I'll get you next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
How's the mayor?
It wasn't-
The mayor's comments on the agenda.
But it isn't our agenda item for the 5:30 p.m. That's,
It is on there.
yeah, sorry, so the agenda items usually I go over the 5:30, if anybody has any questions on
So
those.
you're specifically saying.
But give me just a
5:30?
second, and then I will, okay. All right, does anyone have any questions on the 5:30 p.m. agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Arlissa Mayfield, and I am a resident of Ozark. I have a question about the job description for the fire department. The agenda said it's a job description, but after listening to Director Ward speak, it appears that that's actually the creation of a new position. So is to Mr. Clerk's, to his comments that he made earlier, is this position, this newly created position, is this an approved, has it already been in the budget? And how is this going to be funded versus the funding for the step increase, cost of living raise, whatever you wanna call it, magic numbers? How is that gonna be funded versus that? I mean, have you guys already voted on this position, or,
Well, that's what this is so it is approve a new job description. So if we were to approve it this evening, that would create the new job, which means that we can see what grade it is so that we kind of know about how much they would be paid, and
so that has already been included in the current budget?
it has not been included in the current budget. And so, and like I said, I can't speak for them, but for me, I know that the fire department is not fully staffed at the moment. And so for right now, those funds would just be fire department funds. But then if for some reason we got fully staffed, like then we'd have to be like, hey, we're going over budget here, and then they would have to come back and say. But by us approving the new description, we are taking on that financial responsibility. That if we get fully staffed, we know it's more than we initially approved in the budget. Am I thinking of that wrong?
Can I
Yeah,
go
go for it.
So, Director Ward and I did discuss this. So every department has staff strength. So in other words, they have a particular number that they are at as far as their staff. And so to answer your question, yes, this position will be covered by the budget because he will have removed one of his positions and aware of that.
Gotcha.
And so,
Okay. Is there anyone else in attendance that has any questions on any of the agenda items this evening? Okay. Is there anyone in attendance that has any questions on any subject in particular? And this is where anything that's not on that there.
Again, my name is Jubal Mathis, I live here in Ozark. Thank y'all for having me up here. Mayor, just a question on your point number one. Are you suggesting that they readdress how the public speaks to the council so that it goes through the city's municipal division prior to coming here so you get a heads up on it? Is that what you were suggesting?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted clarification, because that was already voted against, right? Okay, I'd like it to stay that way, that's my opinion. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in attendance that has any comments or questions on any subject in particular? Any subject? Okay, so with that, we'll go to final comments from the mayor.
All right, we got to let y'all know we are opening a warming shelter tonight and tomorrow night, via Perry Rec. It's going to be from 5 p.m. tonight, 5 p.m. each night until 7 a.m. And Andy Henderson and some of the Red Cross crew is staffing that. Want to let you know we're continuing to work on the development across from the Aviation College. We had a really good meeting on Friday. A lot of good potential there, but one more thing that's coming good out of that, we're starting to see some timelines on when some things might happen as far as moving dirt and that kind of thing. But that's also led to some possible ideas on a sports complex, in that the people that are working that project have also worked on sport complexes, I don't know, all over several states. So they have started sending us examples, and we're printing those out and looking at them. And the good thing about them is some of them do have some prices attached to them. So, of course, you know, some of them could be 2 or 3 years old, but still it kind of gives us layout, designs, and acreage, and all that kind of stuff that goes along with it. I did want to just remind y'all, in case you hear something about it, Thursday night at midnight, we are pulling out of Midland City, Pinker, Grimes, and Naked Field as far as the ambulance service. We'll still be running Newton out of here. So just need y'all to know that. That's pretty much all I have.
Can I have a quick, that's, you're saying this Thursday? And that's who we originally agreed with at the last meeting that you told us, right? All but Newton, like
we signed with Newton last week. We'll continue.
Then what were the times for the warming station? The reason I had somebody already message me today and asked about warming station.
5 p.m. tonight till 7 in the morning.
7 in the morning,
And
okay.
then tomorrow the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
And that's at the Civic Center.
It's very rare. Do we have to, and she's probably already on it, do we have like a graphic or anything that's already been pushed out about it?
Yeah, I posted on Facebook.
I knew you would. All right, thank you. I just wanted to be able to share it because I knew people were asking. Thank you. All right, thank you, Mayor. Councilman Infinger? Councilman Jackson?
Mayor, I know you all heard me talk about that sports complex across the years, but you mentioned about plans or architectural renderings or what have you. We have one here at City Hall that was developed for the racetrack sports complex that was never built. I think that would be a starting point, because that was something that was presented to the citizens. The citizens looked at it back then. It was a go for what was best, I think, for Ozark. So I guess those plans are back there somewhere still.
I'm sure they are. These folks just volunteered to provide this stuff to us.
But if they're gonna put a fee on them, we got some stuff already there. There's no fee.
We're not that far along. We're still in the research stage.
Right, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Jackson. Councilman Carl?
I just want to say, I attended the MLK celebration yesterday, and I tell you, if you, the community choir and musicians there are just such a treat, and it was a great day. I'd love to see them perform, have a performance somewhere, because it'd be well worth it. So thank you for all that were involved in that. It was a wonderful celebration.
Tell them how I spoke.
It went, spoke on behalf of the city. Good job.
Thank you.
How much did that pay?
Some things you do for free.
Councilwoman Carlin?
Can I speak after?
After the next one? Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'll speak then.
Okay. So with me, I don't really have anything left to say this meeting. So I will call this meeting to a close, and we will begin the next meeting in, let's say, 4 minutes. are we ready? All right, I call this meeting of the City Council of Ozark to order. We'll begin with the pledge of allegiance, or with the prayer led by Councilwoman Harlow, and the pledge of allegiance led by Mayor Blankenship.
Father God, I thank you for this time. I thank you for this opportunity to serve our community, Lord, to the best of our abilities, Lord. And I just pray that you be with each and every one during this time of cold weather, Lord, that you just protect them and those that need to seek out the warming shelter, that they have a way to get there, Lord. And just pray that you just be with them and those and their families. And I just ask this in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. At this time, we will review and approve the minutes from the regular council meeting that was held on January 2nd, 2024. What are the wishes of the council?
We approve the minutes from the council meeting held January 2nd, 2024, move to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on approving these minutes as presented? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 4 is to set the agenda for this evening's meeting. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we set the agenda as presented.
Thank you. I do have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on setting the agenda as presented?
I would like to add item number 10.
Okay.
Well, you beat me to it, so.
Well, then, so.
Well, I know, but
But that's the discussion.
You got to tell us
It's
what.
just
I'm in the
discussion.
discussion part.
But you got a motion and you got a second, so.
You have to set the agenda as presented, you can't, you gotta.
Well, that's what, if she.
I know, but I wanted to add one more to the agenda that we've discussed.
Understood, but we gotta deal with that motion first.
And once you do that, it's,
You can't do
Okay, it's fine. Do we-
I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, but
No, I know.
but yeah, but
I
she
know.
can still make her point in
Sure,
discussion.
sure.
So what were you going to actually?
Well, I'd like to add, for us to vote on that 5% state law increase, or Mr. Joe, preference.
Okay, so, Councilwoman Harlow is asking for us to vote down setting the agenda as presented,
What is
so
it?
that we can add
Well,
it.
say yes or no, that's right, we vote.
We have to vote it down.
Right. If y'all would like to do that,
Yeah,
to
but I can
add.
still make my
We just
point.
Yes,
asked.
to
I
add.
know you wouldn't know I was gonna make a.
Well, no, wait, yeah, so that if it can be added to
Well,
the
yeah, we
agenda.
know.
No, Councilman, all I was saying is we gotta vote it down.
I
That's all.
understand.
Amend your motion.
I understand.
Yes, you should be able to amend the
I'll
motion,
retract my motion then, my second.
or amend it.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, since there's a second. Okay, so, all in favor of setting the agenda as presented? Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Whoa, I got, you're going to back up and let me document that. So,
Okay,
all in favor?
of setting the
I was in
motion
favor of setting the
as
agenda.
presented.
I thought it died for lack of a second.
Yeah.
No, yes, that's why I said,
Les
that's why I said.
seconded it,
That
which
was
is
second.
what put us in the predicament.
And that's why I said it had to be voted down. Because there's
So I need to vote down, vote against my.
Although,
I thought he withdrew his second.
That's what I did, I said I did.
Can you do that?
hey,
Can you I didn't know you could withdraw.
Okay.
you not following the
Yeah.
order.
but I also understood that she made just on that motion.
It's to present.
Councilman Jackson can amend his motion, Les cannot.
That's right.
Or were you?
I've never seen a second.
I've never seen a second withdrawn.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
And so I made the motion to set the agenda as presented. Now the council has to deal with it.
is voting it down.
You all have to deal with that.
Okay,
Because
Call for the vote.
okay.
Just got to call for
We
the vote.
did, I did, and
Okay.
y'all voted no.
Right.
Because 1, 2, 3 voted no, but I'm not sure what you did.
Who voted no?
I
You
did.
and you and you. Y'all voted to not present it. When I said all in favor and then all,
I
any
didn't see it, I'm
opposed.
just asking.
Oh, okay, any opposed and it
I didn't know
was.
what Les did because he said it.
He said
Yeah, does that mean that
Okay.
I can't vote no after that? or-
Okay, so let's just call it down the line. Opposed? Councilman Enfinger?
Opposed.
Councilman Jackson?
Motion for it.
Opposed.
Opposed.
Okay, so the motion does not pass to set as presented.
Got the A's, got the
Okay,
A's.
so we have to have an agenda for this evening, so what are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we set the agenda, add an item number 10 for Councilwoman Hollow to be considered.
Okay, so can we say what item number 10
What do you want
is
it
going
to
to
be,
be?
Madam
I
Hollow?
would like for it to be the 5%,
To the rest of 5%.
yes. Of the, say it again, I'm sorry.
It'd be a 5% bid preference
I gotta write that down.
for local,
The bid preference as, allowed by the state law
for local
for
resident
local
bidders.
businesses.
And this, as I asked earlier, this is not for construction work, any kind of bid, big bid, anything like that, right?
Well, therein lies the problem, because now you're.
Wait.
No, I'm just
I
asking.
know. Well, I mean, I'd like to state my point.
I will, but we only have a motion on the floor. We don't even have, we don't have the discussion thing.
Okay.
Okay, so hold on. I'm just trying to keep it all in line. Okay, so I will say this. The last agenda, what it was called was the review request to amend accounting policy to allow for 5% benefit to local bidders on projects. So,
Is that still the appropriate wording?
That is correct, and in answer to Councilman Enfinger, this does not include public works bidding, which is most of your construction type projects on public property.
okay, so to that, we have a motion on the floor from Councilman Jackson to set the agenda as presented, adding item number 10, which is to review the request to amend the accounting policy to allow for a 5% benefit to local bidders on projects. Do I have a second?
Second.
Let him do it.
Okay? All right. So, any further discussion on setting the agenda as amended? All in favor of setting the agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Item number 5 is a set of board reappointments and appointments. What are the wishes of the council?
Somebody go do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
She's trying to
to
pull
what's
up
what
her-
y'all wanna
I get,
do.
okay. I make a motion to approve the board appointments, which include on the E911 commission, Winston Jackson reappointment, and the Department Chief Jason Martin's reappointment, and Industrial Development Board, replacing Tony Robinson with Whitney Gardner, and the Public Building Authority, replacing Carlton Holbrook as new reappointing there. Leisure Services, replacing Fred Stegall with Todd Coughlin, and the Airport Advisory Board, Adrian Holman, a reappointment, and Mark Howell replacing Doug Cower on the Airport Advisory Board.
Thank you. I do have a motion on the floor. So do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any further discussion on these appointments and reappointments as presented? All in favor of these board appointments and reappointments, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 6 is to approve a new job description in the fire department. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we approve the new job description in the fire department.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on approving this job description in the fire department? Thank you. I have, wait, I did ask discussion. Okay, All in favor of approving the new position, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 7 is a first and second reading, application 050 retail beer off premises and 070 retail table wine off premises. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we approve the first and second reading, application 050 retail beer off premise only and 070 retail table wine off premises only. For applicant Ishan Inc., trade name Fast Food.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on approving this first and second reading application? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 8 is a first and second reading application 011 lounge retail liquor. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President,
Do it.
Madam President, I move that we approve the first and second reading of application 011 lounge retail liquor class 2 for package applicant Ishan Incorporated, trade name Fast Trip Package.
Thank you. What are I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on approving this first and second reading application? Okay, all in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 9 is appointing a presiding judge and a prosecutor for municipal court case, MC 240000009. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we appoint the presiding judge and prosecutor for municipal court case MC 240000009. And we name the people, the judge Barbara Wade and the prosecutor Rick Collinsworth Jr. to that position, and move for its approval.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on appointing the judge and the prosecutor for that case? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed? Did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. So motion passes. Okay, item number 10 is to, I have to go back to the other thing. I apologize, give me just a second. Is to review the request to amend the accounting policy to allow for a 5% benefit to local bidders on projects. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we amend the accounting policy to allow for a 5% benefit to local bidders on projects as according to state law.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on this, motion? Okay, I will ask. So you did, the question was asked about construction. I will let construction projects. I do know it's not public works projects. Public works projects.
It does not apply to a public works project, but for clarification, you mentioned construction projects. So that's my challenge, in this, if it passes or whatever, is it going to apply to every aspect of a bid, a competitive bid, or are you going to limit it to certain things? Because it's an accounting policy, the way it's presented, as far as, when it was requested, then it would apply to all projects within the city. And so that's, it either needs to be one or the other, which creates, difficulties in trying to determine when it applies and when it doesn't.
Well, the state law says public works is not included.
Correct. I'm not talking about public works. What I'm talking about is just day-to-day activity.
But I think everything else needs to be included.
Okay. So you're saying that would include any construction project that goes on within the city of Ozark, that the city of Ozark is doing, a a 5% local, benefit would be in place.
Isn't construction no under public works?
No,
Public Works is when it's bid, sealed, has to be opened by,
like street repaving.
yeah,
That's-
street paving.
That's public works.
Or like a hangar that we build out there, that's a different item.
Yeah, that's not public.
I think it's premature right now. You all need to get together and bring it back to us.
We done got this on, we got.
No, we got it on there, I understand that, but we did it premature. I mean, it wasn't on the agenda, and so, we need some more time to consider. Just like we talked about the budget, I don't like to be, just jumping into things.
You already got a first and a second, so we got to.
Well, we did,
Yeah.
but this is just a
This
discussion
is
thing,
the
so he
discussion,
just
I
voiced his
understand that.
opinion.
Right, this is the discussion phase.
Yeah,
We'll wait for her to carry the
that's
motion.
that's what discussion is for. Does anybody else have any questions or comments while we're in discussion on it? Okay, so all in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed?
I'm opposed
Okay.
at the moment because I don't have enough information.
Okay, so, with 3 ayes, the motion passes. So with that, I will go to Mayor for final comments.
Stay warm.
Stay warm. Yes. Thank you. Councilman Infinger? Councilman Jackson? Councilman Hall? Councilwoman Harlow?
I would like to say one thing, for 2024, looking at the phrase trust but verify. We're talking about budget heavily here today, and I know the new budget's gonna be coming up, department heads are gonna be working on their budgets. And there comes that part of the budget where we do our city allocations, correct? Where we give money to different nonprofit appropriations, excuse me, yes, appropriations. In the spirit of trust but verify, I would like to ask those people that receive, the organizations that receive our appropriations, if their accounting policies are, if their financial records are audited by an outside individual company rather than just strictly doing auditing on themselves, if they have an outside independent auditor that could come in to look at their accounting records before we give money blindly. Trust but verify that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing with the money that we're giving them. That's my request. I'm not making any accusations or something like that. I'm just like, money's gonna be tight, and I wanna know in my conscience that when we allocate funds or appropriate funds, that they're using these funds appropriately.
And that's for everyone that we make an appropriation.
Everyone that's a nonprofit.
That's
I can't remember off the top of our head. but-
That's kind of the way United Way handles
Yeah.
that process.
Well, when I say everyone, that means everyone regardless of whether they're nonprofit or not. We have to treat them all the same. That's what
No, I'm talking about our appropriations.
I am too. I'm talking about appropriation.
Yeah.
And the point you're making is that we need each and every one of those that we make an appropriation to present us with
Audited records, yes, sir,
Right,
that's what I'm
okay,
asking.
okay. I just want to make sure we treat them all the same.
Absolutely.
All or none.
That's right, absolutely, all or none.
Right.
I don't know how many organizations that is off the top of my head, I can only think of 2 off the top, but there's,
Well-
I wanna say it's like.
But this is January, budgeting is in October, I don't think there's plenty of time for these organizations to come up with somebody to come and audit their books.
Now, if we've done that, I know we've done it across the years, but based on the change that she's requesting, Madam President, I guess we gotta throw that up for a vote too.
Was that for vote?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, do we
I
wanna table it for the
understand,
next
but I wanna get it on the agenda so we can vote up there.
I'm fine,
I'm talking about on the next
can we
agenda,
put it on the next agenda?
or somewhere down the line.
Okay, then I'll be prepared to present it for the next agenda, if I'm not stuttering
But
it.
that's a good, We threw it out there, and we were like, hey.
It's something to think about.
It is something
I don't know
to
that
think
we've
about.
ever done it.
No.
In the 3 years so far, this is our 4th year, I don't think we've ever.
No, it's never-
And you're gonna have some, you're
Verify.
gonna have some out there who probably can't even afford it all.
Well, and that's,
So-
that was gonna be my
so-
point,
so-
is, are you going to deny those appropriations to those
Well,
organizations? that don't
somebody
have-
within that organization is doing their bookkeeping. They
Correct.
should be able to print out their income and receipts.
But there, you said audit,
Yeah.
so there's a big difference.
Audits are
Yeah.
pricey.
Well, we need to discuss what type of audit, but I think
That's
it
all I'm
needs to.
saying.
What she's asking for is accountability of the money.
And
that we give her.
transparency.
That's all she's asking
I
for.
understand it, but.
Yeah.
I'm talking to them.
If they, I don't know how much
But
external audit
Audit's
costs.
different.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
like you have an accountant, what I'm thinking is an accountant comes in.
Well, yeah, we can.
An audit, not like how we have for the city where it costs us thousands and thousands. I'm talking about an accountant that would come in and say, show me your ins, show me your outs. Let's see this, how it's working.
I know the Wiregrass United does with all their agencies, they did like that. I mean, you have to have all the paperwork in before you're allowed to even receive
Right.
funding from them.
And that'd be
It's something
verified.
to think
and-
about.
So, okay, I'll bring it next time.
That means those little business.
All right, and I have no commentary, does anybody?
I was just saying those small nonprofits can't afford it all.
And soccer, Carol, my soccer might not get in.
But also to that, but also to
Carol might
that,
talk.
yeah, but the thing is, all of those sport entities are underneath the school system.
Yeah,
Which they
So
are.
that's different,
Okay.
at least in my,
Yeah.
I'm like, go audit the band boosters, okay. So, okay, so I don't have any final comments. So with that, I would entertain a motion to
Move to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Thank you, I have a motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I call this meeting to a close.